Hello, my name is Dewayne Malone, and this is my Broken Not Dead story.
I'm broken, not dead.
I grew up in a household, like literally, we was in church every time the church doors was open. My father was a pastor. My mom, she supported him, his ministry as well. I got a twin brother. He was a pastor, minister. A younger brother's a minister. I say all that to say this: we were on the pedestal. Yeah, we were on the pedestal. Everyone wanted their kids to be around our family and me and my brothers. Because just the stigma of being a PK, a preacher kid, and we all know that the PKs are the best ones. And so, but little to say, that's not the truth. I went into this thing where I heard about Jesus and different things like that, and the great things that he do. But honestly, I didn't have that authentic relationship with him, and I didn't realize that personally until I started going through life. I remember being in school and being picked on and being bullied a lot of different times. And a lot of times would be because I didn't have the best clothes, or when I had hair, I didn't have a haircut, and just a lot of different things like that. And life was kind of rough for us growing up. My brothers and I, we would a lot of times switch up clothes. I would wear a certain outfit one day, and my other brother would wear the same outfit the next day. And we kind of had our share of poverty, I guess you could say. So anyway, little to say, we were always picked on for different reasons and different things like that. And I think a lot of times the magnetic part was because they knew the lifestyle that we were living or supposed to be living, that we could not retaliate. And that was the mindset that I adopted. And so in bullying, and a lot of times it's being late from class, from ducking and dodging from the bully, not knowing my self-worth, not knowing my self-value. And I would get detention and be in trouble at school because of being late for class. On to the point of not speaking up, not sharing this knowledge with my parents until I would be in trouble at home too, because I got detention. But I never told anyone what I was actually going through. And so after just going through that, I remember finishing school, and I was at a gas station one day, and a guy, he came up to me and said, "Hey, Dewayne, do you know where I can buy some drugs?" Honestly, I didn't know where he could buy some drugs, but for some odd reason, I wanted to entertain what he was asking me. And I began to think about the lifestyle of a drug dealer. He had the money, he had the cars, he had the clothes, he had the power, the friends, all these things that I felt could validate the feeling, the internal feeling that I had. And so what I began to do is I began to call around and try to find what it was that he was looking for. After calling around and looking, and I finally found what he was looking for. And at that moment, I set it up, and I made my first drug transaction. I started selling drugs, and it's crazy, but it's going to show you how messed up I was and not knowing my identity and not knowing who I were. I would sell drugs, but wasn't even making a profit. Like, I'm literally just making friends. Like, I'm really getting a reputation and all these different things that I felt that I was needing. And eventually I started making some money, and I became labeled as I guess you would say, eye roller drug dealer. Nothing to boast about at all, but most of all, I finally felt like I was somebody. But, and just being transparent with you, in doing all this, like, I was constantly still going to church every time the church doors was open. My brothers and I, we had a music group, the Malone Brothers, and we would do Christian music and CDs and different things like this. And we would travel all over the place, and I could literally still sing, get out of church and go and sell drugs like it wasn't nothing. Like, that's just the messed up place that I was in my life. And I had made myself understand and program myself to think that, you know what, God, he gonna overlook me just because I'm still going to church. I'm still trying to do the right thing in the eyes of people. And so I continued that lifestyle, but March the 19th, 2004, I was arrested. The preacher kid. I was set up by what you would call my right-hand man. In the whole process of being in the streets and selling drugs and doing these things that I should not have been doing, I was robbed at gunpoint several times where it still wasn't enough for me to quit. While we were waiting to go to court to be sentenced, we get a phone call that my younger brother had been kidnapped and was held for ransom. And in that moment, the word on the street began to be, Dewayne must have owed the drug dealer some money, which was not the case, but that was the label that I kind of put up on myself from the decisions that I chose to make. We get another phone call that still waiting to go to court, that our family business had been blown up completely off the foundation. Again, I'm being questioned that I must owe the drug dealer some money. It had to be something that I did, and that was not the case. But however, a lot of times when I get the opportunity to speak, that I tell people that the decisions that you make, they don't just affect you, but they also affect the ones that you love. And then the reputation that we build for ourselves in doing things that we should not be doing, it follows us. And so we have to be careful in the decisions and the choices that we make. But I will fast forward to it's time to go to court and it's time for me to be sentenced, and I'm looking at a 15 to life sentence. And so as I looked in the courtroom, the judge asked who was there on my behalf, and I turned around and looked, and when I looked, I didn't see any of those friends that I had made while I was in the streets and while I was doing wrong. But I had so many when I was in the streets and doing that. But I never saw any of those faces, but the faces that I did see were preachers and teachers and so many influential people in the community that believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself. They saw something in me even when I didn't see it in myself. That moment right there was like a real eye-opener for me. I'm looking at a 15 to life sentence, and at that moment I chose to really authentically give my life to Christ, and Lord, just give me another chance. I'm gonna do whatever you wanna do. And I completely surrendered, and in that moment I knew I understood what my purpose was. And so I felt the peace and the calmness, and I felt like I heard the Lord saying that, how can man take your life when I'm the one that gave you life? And that really just stuck with me even to this day. And you know, no one can do that. No one can do that. And so I ended up pleading to a lesser charge, and of course I'm not in prison doing a life sentence, and most of all, I found my purpose. And I'm super grateful for that. I was so angry at the guy that was my right-hand guy that set me up, and the more that I started like really building my relationship with the Lord and really learning more about what it is that I need to be doing as a believer, I started learning about forgiveness, and my whole perspective started changing on life. So I got to thinking like, you know, what if he didn't set me up? If he had not set me up, I could be dead. The situation could be a lot worse. So I just started changing my whole trajectory of thinking, and I realized now that everything works for our good, man, when we're connected to the source. And I know that. So, you know, just fast forward, life has just been so different for me. I ended up birthing a nonprofit, the Rescue Me Project. And this Rescue Me Project is an organization that we're very intentional about being very transparent with sharing our stories and doing it in a way that people can really relate. We've been blessed to have our organization to be going for several years now, where God has sent amazing people to be a part of this vision to really grow it, and they're bringing their strength, they're bringing their stories. It's nothing that Dewayne Malone did on his own, but God just really, literally have been sending people to help build this vision, this thing that he has really planted to really make a difference, I believe. And it's been very effective. We serve thousands of students in a year's time. And the thing for me is, like, I love the fact that I haven't had to conform to what man have wanted me to do in order to get to where I need to go. But just being who I am and allowing God to work in my life authentically like that, and to see some of the things that he has, the opportunities that he have given me, as well as those around me that are working in their gifts and doing the same thing, just to be able to see that he's able to raise what people thought was dead or was broken, man, and just give that opportunity, it's still possible. And so for me to be able to not have to compromise, not have to change or do this or not say this or anything like that, but literally be able to be who he has called me to be and be very transparent of the things that he's done in my life when I was once in a broken place, but I'm no longer there. To be able to to be able to transparently say that and believe that, and then people around you get to see the fruits of that, I think is a blessing to someone else and it's hope to someone else. And that's the thing. Like that's, the Lord is still doing miracles today, like today, and so I think people need to know that. So I ended up going from, like I say, serving a little time on probation. I ended up doing some time in work release and a little bit of time in jail, but most of all, like I said, I have my life and I have my purpose. And I'm super grateful because, you go from being on probation to now our organization, you got the probation office as a client, that's God. Like, how does that happen? I also found in my life that my mindset just has completely changed. And something that has really been helpful to me that I would like to share with you all is that what if that thing that you thought was to knock you off balance, to kill you, to destroy you, to tear you down, what if that thing was not an attack, but it's sent to be an assignment? And when we start looking at life like that, it's not an attack, but it's an assignment. It changed your whole mindset to how can I get through this situation? What can I take away from this situation? How can I learn? And that's literally how I live my life from day to day right now. It's not an attack, it's an assignment. And it helps me to get to where I'm going. I am super grateful again for this opportunity. I thank everyone for your support. And again, it's not nothing that Dewayne Malone has done. I'm just grateful to be an instrument for the Lord to be able to use to say, hey, if you did it for me, he can do it for you. You may feel like you're in a broken place right now, but I guarantee you are not dead. Like, as long as you have breath, you still have an opportunity to keep moving.